With all the saga going on in the world right now, the big question everyone has been asking is, will the 2026 FIFA World Cup still hold? We'll get to find out in a few weeks or months from now. And the Gunners, they look likely to win their first Premier League title in 22 years. Can they do just that? The midweek result was a big boost for the Gunners. Real Madrid, things are not going out well for them. Let's see if they can beat another poor team next week when they battle it out in the UEFA Champions League. But this weekend, no Premier League game. It's the weekend of the FA Cup, but we have La Liga, we have Serie A, we have Bundesliga, we have Ligue 1, and the most competitive league in the world, the NPFL. Welcome to this edition of Premium Sport on PBO TV. My name is Boluwati Tonishola Omoni. I'm not alone today. Yes, I'm in the driver's seat, but I have my partner in the studio with me. But before we get into that, let's go on this break. And when we come back, we'll delve into the news beats. Welcome back from that break. It's still Premium Sport on PBO TV. My name still remains Boluwati Tonishola Omoni, and it's time for a news beat. We start from, well, I don't know what to call it, martial arts or from boxing or whatever. But we're starting from Floyd Mayweather, who has said he will fight veteran Greek kickboxer Mike Zambidis in an exhibition bout in June before his expected rematch against Manny Pacquiao. Pacquiao, who is 47, and Mayweather, who is 49, will fight at the Sphere Las Vegas on Saturday, 19th September, live on Netflix in the rematch of what we saw in 2015, the fight of the century, which is the richest boxing fight in the world. Let's leave that now and move on to football, where, well, it's not a football story though. Manchester United defender Harry Maguire has been handed a 15-month suspended sentence by a Greek court following an incident on the island Mykonos in August 2020. My guy was flexing during COVID. The England international was given a suspended sentence of 21 months and 10 days in prison in 2020 after initially being found guilty of repeated bodily harm, attempted robbery, violence against public employees, and insult. The following day, Maguire's legal team lodged an appeal against the verdict. In accordance with the Greek law, the appeal nullified his conviction and meant there would be a full retrial. Some of these things are weird. Although Maguire's team said he was asked to pay about £50,000, they target bribery so they can forget the case. But he said no. He's not going to pay, and he will fight out his sentence. Most of the time, when I hear suspended sentence, just leave it. If you want to sentence someone, sentence them. Which one is suspended? Sentence. But at least for now, Maguire has escaped it. Let's see if they will still continue to pursue the trial and see if he will be innocent at the end of the day. That's the news beat. Now, let's go on another break and we'll come back. There are loads of conversations in the Niger flavor. Welcome back from that break. It's still Premium Sport on PBO TV. It's time for Niger Flavor right now. And I love it when I get this person agitated in the studio. And he will still be agitated again today. Don't worry, I'll get him riled up. Before we hit it, let's welcome Pedro Peter. Pedro, good to have you again today.
Yes, thank you, Bolu.
How has the week been as a sports person?
Well, productive, eventful, dramatic, exciting, everything.
I know it's not as an active sport person though. Seeing is definitely believing. But let's get on to the conversation that has been taking the social media for the past weeks and maybe even months. I believe it's a farmer. You know what I mean by a farmer? Not someone that is farming or farming on social media that started all this conversation that made the NFL push blah, 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 blah. Now there was a story making the round. I made rounds on Wednesday. That FIFA have released the list of the teams that will go to the World playoff. Yeah. Nigeria's name was not there. Then boom, Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) they dismissed the widespread reports that Nigeria's statement is saying that was a report since November. Quoting Demola Lajire, now the director of communications for the NFF, he said the NFF have not received any formal communication from FIFA whatsoever. No information can be shared with journalists without first coming to the federations involved. Yes, our wait is ongoing and are still expecting formal communication from FIFA. Let those posting the old quotes continue posting. This is why I bring you in, Pedro. Do we still have hope of qualifying for the World Cup? Because the playoffs is in about 3 weeks.
It starts on the 26th.
Will Nigeria still make it to the playoff?
Make what? Make where? Make to where? No, now. Is it make up, make
not the
down?
Door, not the ceiling, not the roof, not the window. No door is open at all.
See, look, we are already fighting a lost cause. In fact, we were fighting
from the beginning.
Lost cause from the very first moment that I don't know who whispered this thought of, okay, let us go and appeal or lodge a protest or a complaint, whatever, official or unofficial. I do not know who whispered it to the ears of the federation that, okay, this is what you have to do. And for the fact that our federation didn't even jumped on itself, it wasn't us. Because we don't keep records, we don't take cognizance of happenings between us. It was actually the Cameroonians that were like probably looking
They
for
started it,
a
then
leeway.
pulled
But
back.
they themselves, they saw that it was not watertight. It was nothing.
Their own players, so Eto had double citizenship.
Yes, so they left it. Nigeria now took it upon themselves, carried it on their head, hawking it up and down, and they had the effort to say we lodged an official complaint to FIFA. In fact, the entire board, from the chairmanship down to the very least person, of course.
Shame is chasing them, they are running.
Honestly. Then they look at the I don't know what to call it, whether a senseless statement from the communications department. I don't know what to call that individual by name, trust me. But it has shown that actually in this part of the world that we don't know our left and our right. We don't even know what it takes to actually administer the sport when it comes to football. Firstly, a colleague, a veteran in the industry, he says he himself, of course, is of the opinion that Nigeria has no case. Now, he told me, he says you cannot dictate to a country who is their citizen or not. That is the first thing.
Like the FIFA statement is like, so long a player has a passport to represent that country. And who gave these players passports? DR Congo. And these said players also played at the AFCON.
Thank you. And
they played qualifiers before Nigeria's
game. Even before the AFCON, even before...
In fact, okay, Pedro, many don't know. Do you know that Wan-Bissaka played on the 20 for DR Congo before England?
Uh-huh.
And the same Wan-Bissaka, we are saying is not a citizen of DR Congo.
No.
So we are the ones telling DRC who their citizens should be.
Now, imagine the senselessness in that. Not just that itself. When DRC, they prepared, they presented their documentations to FIFA.
Yeah.
It was who cleared these players. It was still FIFA.
Exactly.
So are we the ones that want to tell FIFA that, you people made a mistake? Or the FIFA was okay.
The people are comparing it to the Malaysia, and I'm like, these are apples and oranges.
Those does not make sense.
They are not the same thing. This ones, they lied. The grandparents of these players were not from Malaysia. So they are two different things.
These players, they have their roots there. It has been established. They have the passport. They've already...
they get family house.
Before FIFA will see the case with their own gift, Orban or something. He has not really been clear.
That's even what we should fight.
Exactly.
Because Gift Orban and Nigeria boy, they born and all those.
So, but they say the mother has from Togo or something, or Mali or something, one of those the West African Francophone countries. So, that is why we cannot even bring him to play for us, because there's no definite stand on, okay, this is his nationality now, because not as we said from FIFA, we are not even pursuing the case. We are now running after
those that have settled their own case.
And these players have been featuring for DRC for years.
For example, Wan-Bissaka has been playing since I think 2019 for DRC. He also holds the French nationality. They are fighting a lost cause. Well, some people are saying they will go to CAS if it doesn't work. We will keep going till the FIFA World Cup 2026 ends, and we'll come back to discuss that. So I agree 100% with Pedro. I do not think we have any case from the beginning. Let's leave that now and talk about the most competitive league in the world, the Nigeria Premier Football League. In midweek, Rivers United played the rescheduled game and they thrashed El Kanemi Warriors 3-0, taking them top of the table with 2 points ahead of Rangers, who are in second, and they still have 2 games in hand. This weekend, Monday 29, we have fixtures across board, with Kano Pillars taking on Barao FC. It's not just a Northern derby, it's a local derby. You can call it Kano Derby. Katsina United will take on Kwara United. In Abia Warriors will face Shooting Stars. Rivers United will host Bendel Insurance. They have a chance to maintain their lead or even extend their lead at the top of the table. Rangers, on the other hand, will play defending champions Remo Stars. Warriors will host Enyimba. Enyimba have gone through all sorts this season. Nassau United will be at home against the Ikorodu City. Kun Khalifa at welcome Bayelsa United. Plateau United would host Niger Tornadoes, and Wiki Tourists would face El Kanemi World. Before we leave Nigeria flavor, this is a story that hurts me a lot, and the story is annoying. You will understand very soon. Last week Wednesday or Thursday, NWFL first half or thereabout ended. Transfer window opened at all. Then a player from Paysetters Queens of Ibadan was kidnapped along the Benin Expressway. He owed to John Blessing. Then, according to the report, the mom knew after she called her, and someone picked the call and said it was the driver of the bus. My child, the owner of this phone has been kidnapped. I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe the kidnappers called demanding 20 million and all. Then a silly statement, in my opinion, from the Commissioner for Youth and Sports, who incidentally is also a lady, said, well, I got to know about this thing from the mother through my PA, and the said player she was released with 5 other players on Friday, and the mother didn't give us enough information that will help the security agencies, blah, 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 blah. I think that was on Monday or thereabouts. Remember, the kidnapping was done on Friday. Then in midweek on Wednesday, the club finally released a statement too. The player was kidnapped on Friday. The club released a statement on Wednesday. They started with Rebecca along other players. They named them were among the players that were released. But what does that have to do with a human being was kidnapped? And you are telling her she was released, she's not a part of the club anymore, blah, blah, blah. Just a day after she played her last game, she was kidnapped for you, and suddenly she's not useful anymore. Is that what they are meant to be saying right now at this moment, or looking for solutions?
You see, a lot of things in this country, what is abnormal is normal, and what is normal is the other way around, honestly. Firstly, let's start with the statement by the woman in question. I do not know what her name is, and I actually do not say, give 2 cents about her. But to come out to say the mother did not give you enough information. Do kidnappers give you all the information? Okay, this is where we are. This is what we normally do. We eat akamu in the morning, we do this in the afternoon. We sleep around 9 in the night.
Yeah, her name is Wazilat Adefemi Adegoke.
That explains it. So, is that the information she's hoping to get or something? Because the mother did not.
Does she even work for FBI or CIA that she will know the? My information is they've kidnapped my daughter. They've called me. Find a solution.
She came to you for help. She complaining to you. If she did not make a complaint, I say, I did not know because nothing was brought to me. No complaint. Nothing was. I was not made aware of anything. Now, the mother of the footballer, the player in question, approached you. You said through my PA. Normally, you arrange a meeting with the woman. You say you got to know through your PA. Now imagine. Okay, now so that for the fact that you are saying this in the open means that you actually do not care. You would have even kept out that. I got to know. Or
exactly. We don't care who is through.
So far you got to know. Normally, you would have even arranged a meeting with the woman, with the mother.
Based on the
at least
kind of story it is.
Show that empathy at least, even if it's for the optics. Just, okay, ma, we will do all in our power to ensure that, okay, now that this has happened, you say, okay, the players have been released, okay, they are no longer part of the club system, fine. But does it mean that
they don't care?
But does it mean that, okay, you will not do something or you will not do anything? At least the player played for you, just a matter of a day. At least she was on your books, on your payroll for at least the day before. So why say, okay, because they have been released and that is it? Does it mean that, okay, you will not help her? Or does it mean that, okay, the person now she's now cast away with the wind, or you have bound her to the Philistines? Whatever happens to her is her own fate. Things are not done like that. This is actually, I don't know. The way public officials in this part of the world, the way they think, the way they act, the way they reason, the way they do things, honestly. Anyway, I will not be surprised if that woman was actually just appointed there, because definitely you cannot tell me that she has the knowledge to execute such a position, or the knowledge or the wherewithal to execute such a position, or definitely she did not work for it. At least. If that is my own take anyway. I definitely believe she did not work her way for that position. Probably just maybe she got a favor from one of the higher ups. But be that as it may, we should not do stuff like this. We do not do things like, okay, now what will be the solution? What is the way forward? The player is still in captivity. Find a way. Okay, if you want to engage the security agencies, okay, please, I want a covert operation. Let it be done within half a day, within 24 hours. Okay, or if you want to
negotiate.
If it's
Lamba, at least say something meaningful.
Okay, or if you want to negotiate, shall negotiate now. Okay, for a 20 mil. Okay, I'm not saying, I am not one that will advocate for such. I must make that known here and now. However, we are talking about a life,
It's a human
person, a human being. So we also have to show empathy. We are definitely, if it were to be one of them, they will not say these things that they are saying. Believe me, they will not. So, but anyway, we hope that this particular situation comes to a resolution, not just any kind of resolution, a peaceful and amicable resolution. So at least the player will live like, okay, at least most of these clubs, they owe players, they complain poor treatment and all that. So, but at least if this is the only thing she can always talk good about, this club, when so thing happened, they came to my rescue, they came to my aid. You have done something that significant for the rest of that person's life, even when she grows old. But of course, who am I? I'm just a guy here on TV, saying my own 2 bits and 2 cents. I don't know. Our people don't know how to just actually work their way to becoming heroes and all that.
Well, there's a thing that is being said, read the room before making some statements. That's why I think both Pesetas, Queens Football Club, and Honorable, as they like to call them, Wasilat Adigoke, know when to say some things, no shades, but know the right moments, the right things and words to use part time. Well, this is where we end it on Nigeria Flavor. There are too many games across board, including the FA Cup for this weekend. After this break, it will be time for Euro Focus. Welcome back from that break. It's still Premium Sport on PBO TV. My name remains Boluwati Tony Shola Oboni. It's time for Euro Focus and the FA Cup. All the fixtures involve Premier League teams. Liverpool going away to take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wrexham will host Chelsea. Mansfield will play against Arsenal. Fulham will take on Southampton. Port Vale and Sunderland will battle it out. Leeds United will host Norwich City. West Ham against Brentford. But the game everyone will be looking for, talking about, has to be at St. James's Park between Newcastle United and Manchester City. Pedro, quick one. It looks like the Premier League is slipping out of the hands of Man City. Do you think Man City can go all the way, starting with this game at the St. James's Park?
Well, this is an FA Cup fixture, so it's just a time for them to just put the result they had in midweek behind them, because trust me, that was morale damaging. If I'm to put it that way, having to go in front twice and being pegged back again twice by Forest, a very stubborn Forest side. Of course, that result meant that the Premier League title race is not in their hands anymore. Even if they do win that much talked about fixture against Arsenal in April, and if they do win that fixture, that game in hand, but like our people always say, game in hand does not translate to points on the board. So be that as it may, this fixture with Newcastle, I think is a very feisty one. It will be a feisty one because both teams, they have a lot to play for this season. Thankfully, City are still somewhat in the running to win all 4 titles. Okay, yes, all 4 titles. They will take on Arsenal in the final of the Carabao Cup 1. They are neck and neck with Arsenal also for the right to be Premier League champions. They are also in the Champions League, the round of 16. At least they do fancy their chances there. And also this FA Cup fixture. Now, this is where it gets interesting. They've played each other several times this season. In fact, for City to get to the final, they took on Newcastle, over 2 legs in the semis, and they dealt with them home and away emphatically. So they will look at that as a form of a morale booster to continue that that run. Also in the league, they've also bested Newcastle in the league as well. So, and it doesn't really help Newcastle, the Magpies themselves.
Both of them can play up to maybe 7-8 times if they meet in the Champions League as well.
Yes, they will play as much as 7 times. Already they've played 4-5 times already this season. 4-5 thereabout, and which is looking very, very. And City have actually bested Newcastle in all of them. And now this for fans of the Magpies, it is not so heartwarming when you know that
when it's Man City.
Exactly. When you know that even Eddie Howe as a manager, he has not had it good with Manchester City, both from his days at Bournemouth when he coached Bournemouth. In fact, he lost every fixture while he never for once defeated Man City while he was at Bournemouth. The only victory also that he had was even during his stint with Newcastle, and it does not make for a fine read when you check the stats on paper. So this is actually pointing to a City win. City, they have a deep enough squad, funny enough. It doesn't matter who starts. They still have enough quality, whether it's Tiani Renders, Ryan Cherky, just name it. Anybody that comes. In fact, they may not even, in goal, they may not play Gigi Donnarumma. They have a James Trafford there. And, this is a squad that that, which is why it beats the imagination that this team is actually lagging. They're not that firebrand when it comes to the Premier League chase and challenge. And all. Well, fine. It happens. Some seasons are like that. You will not always be 100% at the top of your powers, at the peak of your powers. It doesn't always work like that. But City, they've done well. As for Newcastle, their only route to probably winning silverware, realistically, is this FA Cup. And for the fact that they dealt with Aston Villa the previous round away, that is a morale booster for them. And they'll be looking at, okay, you win this FA Cup, it is a chance to also qualify for Europe. That is if I thought they do not finish in the top 7 in the Premier League, because already they are in 12th spot, on the table, which is not too palatable for going by the lovely season they had last, where they even qualified for the Champions League directly. So coming to this fixture, okay, fine. They defeated Aston Villa the previous round. Okay, they may see themselves as likely to beat maybe Man City, but of course they will remember their semi-final encounter in the Carabao Cup. They were the ones that actually took them out because they were the defending champions. So, but another thing too that would also help both teams now, they've had contrasting results coming into this fixture.
And both are even thinking of their Champions League clash. They both have tough tasks against
Very
Spanish sides.
That is why I said, if realistically for Newcastle, the FA Cup is their best route, because I don't see them coming over 2 legs against Barcelona. It is difficult. In fact, if not impossible, they can't. So if you can just, City are not in their top powers, but if you can just manage, just get something out of the way, it helped that
I'd rather rest players in Champions League and go all out in the FA Cup.
Thank you. My take too,
Even
because
if you go past them, there are still loads of things that can wreck you down.
Exactly.
FA Cup, the big boys are going out small.
Because this is even their route. Okay, number 1, you get
At least Europa League.
silverware. 2, you go to Europe. Come on, this doesn't get any better than that. And for the fact that you even defeated their neighbors, Man United, in midweek, with 10 players.
Yeah.
Come on.
So in 90 minutes or penalties, who gets it for you?
Okay, I think it will go to penalties. They'll go all the way, They'll go all the way. I see this as a free scoring fixture. If Newcastle scores first, like if they score the first 2 goals, it will be a tie for them to lose, unless if they allow City to score first. Because if City scores first against Eddie Howe's team, trust me, it doesn't come back. His teams never actually get their bearings when they go behind. So it is imperative for them. If he wants to play all the best players, he has to Gordon, Wissa, play everybody. Score those first 2 goals. You give yourself that cushion and breathing room to probably explore. If you now want to actually sit back and probably defend, fine, well and good, because you just be helping yourself at the end of the season. Because looking from where they are in 12th position to claw your way five positions up until the games are running out now in the Premier League. You have about 9 games now to go. You may not, definitely, you will still drop points. It was surprising that they even lost to Everton last weekend before they got the win against Man U this midweek. They lost 3-2 to Everton. That was a result that actually did not actually help their cause. Imagine if they had won that and they followed that up with this result against Manchester United. That would have helped Jaco. They would have even been in 10th position. They can easily say, okay, the top 7 is something that is within reach, within grasp. We can actually get something. But for this fixture, trust me, it's actually one that every neutral want to watch. Both sides, you are not going to see a weakened fixture. Both teams, they have decent players, both starting 11 and on the bench. Both managers, a lot is riding on this fixture for them. So they have a lot to, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that. If City ends up being eliminated, it's not so bad. They have a bigger fish to fry. They have the Carabao Cup final. They have the Champions League with seasoned campaigners, all-time record. So, but it is one fixture that I think would be great to actually watch out for. And there's Semenyo. Oh, trust me, Semenyo might just end up scoring 10 goals for City alone. And this is a player that just joined
In the winter,
just 2 months ago, less than 2 months ago, because the transfer window was like midpoint when he even came in. This is a player that, trust me, I see him scoring maybe 12 goals at the end of the season. And that would be massive.
Yep.
Some players don't even score 12 goals from the beginning of the season in August till May. He will end up probably getting double figures, which will be massive. That will be money well spent when it comes to City. And now that Haaland has actually gone under the radar, is out of form or some, and of course, he had a bit of fitness issues, only just managed to return. So I expect Semenyo, everything good to come through him.
Well, you've heard it from Pedro there. Let's leave the FA Cup now and talk about the Spanish La Liga. Later tonight, Real Madrid will play away at Celta Vigo. Then this weekend, there are crazy matches. Villarreal, Elche, Getafe, Real Betis. Sevilla will host Rayo Vallecano, Valencia against Deportivo Alaves. But the two top games in Spain is a battle between Atletico Madrid and Real Sociedad at the Metropolitano Stadium. And San Mamés Athletic Club would host Barcelona. The interesting thing is this fixture is the two semi-final losers will face each other, and the two final winners semi-final winners will face each other there. Let's move on to the Serie A right now, where we have Lazio take on Sassuolo. Napoli will host Torino. Juventus play Pisa. Atalanta against Udinese. Genoa will host Roma. But the biggest game in Italy this weekend has to be, if this was say 20 years ago, this would have been the biggest game across Europe this weekend. The Derby della Madonnina. AC Milan, Pedro, will take on your favorite club, Inter Milan.
Yes. It's
And it's soon to go San Siro.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a fixture that I've been dreading over the last couple of weeks. Though what kept us Inter fans pleased and happy and probably excited was the fact that we were winning all our fixtures. So after the Genoa fixture last weekend, which we won at home, of course, we knew that there were two tough fixtures that would come back to back. Of course, the first leg of the Coppa Italia with Como, which has come and gone in midweek. Inter played out a goalless draw. There's still the second leg to come at the San Siro. And now, the all-important derby fixture. A lot is riding on this fixture. Currently, Inter are 10 points ahead of they are 10 points ahead of AC Milan, with about 11 games or so to go. As it stands, Inter just needs 8 more wins, and they would land the title irrespective of what happens in this derby fixture. But what would make it all the more sweeter is that Inter could actually say, okay, beat AC, and the title conversation is like as good as done, because that would be 13 points. Not just that, they will just need 6 wins instead of 7. You just need only 6 more wins from now till May, and you'll be crowned champions. For crying out loud, you could even be crowned champions in the month of April. It could be that good. That is if AC Milan falls this weekend. Now, this is riding in favor for Inter Milan is the fact that they are now out of Europe now, so you don't have continental pressures now on your shoulders. You don't have anything to worry about. In as much as it was embarrassing in the manner in which they left. If it were an English club side that took out Inter, or probably one of the Spanish heavyweights in Barcelona or Real Madrid, even Atletico, most Inter fans would not care. But for the fact that it was a team outside of the top 5 leagues, not just the top 5, even outside of the top 10 European leagues, a team from Norway, having to be, in fact, they beat Inter home, and the way it was that bad, very, very bad. And in fact, it's actually a fixture that no one wants to remember. It exposed the naivety of the coach Christian Kivu, and it shows that outside of the Italian game, he has a whole lot to learn, but probably he will get better with time, or probably he may be like his elder brother Antonio Conte. I call him elder brother because that one, he just wants to dominate locally. Anything outside, he does not care about that. But Kivu now, all the players are he has quite a lot of the players at his disposal, except for the captain Lautaro Martinez, who is still out injured. So probably you have to navigate with Marcus Thuram, Juan Ange-Boni, and Pio Esposito, the youngster who has actually had a brilliant breakout season for Inter. Now, this is the thing. When Marcus Thuram has a bit of an off day, probably if it doesn't, in quote, the way we normally say, yeah, if you no put body, Inter Milan, they don't actually, I don't know. And since Esposito and Ange-Boni came into the fray, Marcus Thuram he has not actually been like all in the way he was last season when he came on a free transfer from Mönchengladbach. Now, he has to actually just put his head in the game, just seize this game, seize the opportunity, make it count, put his name in lights, and probably would, fans would be pleased with him, because trust me, the Inter fan base, they've been, they've actually insulted him, abused him, they say, if you want to sell him, after all, we'll make money, we got him for free. So even if you want to sell him for 20 million, just let him go at the end of the season. But Marcus Thuram is still one of the finest strikers in Europe, in fact, in the division. So he brings a lot to the team. So he would have to, see how that attack would go between him, Esposito, and Ange-Boni. Definitely, he plays with two men up front. So definitely one will have to sit and probably come in later in the second half. So as for the midfield, fine. The midfield is aging, and Barella is no longer the Nicolo Barella of 2 seasons ago that lit the division for a while. He has appeared to go cold, and but anyway, we just have to make do with what we have. It is what we have, and play with a Mkhitaryan and a Çalhanoğlu. But I love DiMarco. He has actually stepped up this season. Fine, he is 28 these days, but coming from last season where he was atrocious, he has actually made amends. He has returned to peak Federico Di Marco's form that we used to know, and definitely this is one fixture that he would thrive in. AC Milan, on the other hand, they've not been having the best of times when it comes to results. Dropping points here and there, drawing fixtures, of course, to our own happiness. Of course, I will take it. If I'll take it to the bank and cash it, please continue to drop more points. Well, their only form of the best outlet for goals for AC Milan is just Christian Pulisic and Rafael Leao. That is if he decides to play football on the day, if he's not running around trying to make maybe senseless dribbles that does not end up going anywhere. So I know Max Allegri has his work cut out in the summer. He will have to weed out some players and still bring some quality, but for now he has to manage what he has and still get the best out of his team. Now it will help him to draw inspiration from the first leg, because AC Milan won that fixture. Then of course we all know how Inter is when it comes to big fixtures this season. They've all been it's hard for them to get a win. The only fixture that they've won actually rather is the one against Juventus and the one against Roma. But they may actually build on that and probably say, okay, let's see where this gets us, get a win, and the journey to the title gets more easier.
Well, I think except something dramatic happen, Inter Milan will be crowned champions this season. Another wait for back-to-back winner of the Italian Serie A. In Germany, there's the Bundesliga, exciting games. Cologne will host Borussia Dortmund. Leipzig would play against Augsburg. We have Stuttgart going away to take on Mainz. Freiburg will host Bayer Leverkusen. After going 6 games unbeaten against Bayern Munich, Mönchengladbach have lost the last 5 against the Bavarians. Now they'll be going to the Allianz Arena to take on Bayern again, and the friendly gone. There's a repeat of what we saw in the playoff for the Champions League. As PSG will host Monaco, Nantes will play Angers, Toulouse will play Marseille, Brest at home against Le Havre. There's Lille against Lorient, Nice, Reims, and Lyon against Paris FC. Well, there are reports that the Finalissimo will be played at the Bernabeu. Some are saying Allegri is one of the options to Real Madrid. I'm sure by the time we get to the summer, we'll know who is going where and where they will be playing what. That's what we'll end it on the Euro focus. The World Cup is still brewing. There are still conversations, too many things. And some persons are complaining about how a certain club play football. Is there a style of play or just win? We'll get to find out when it's time for the hot gist. Welcome back from that break. It's the final lap of Premium Sport on PBO TV. It's time for Hot gist. And Pedro Peter is here with me. Pedro, let's just get straight into the conversation. FIFA World Cup 2026 is expected to start in about 3 months. And there are still conversations around. We don't know whether it will hold or not. FIFA is quiet. Iran unofficially have pulled out of the tournament. Iraq may not even be available for the playoff because there's a no-fly zone around them. But if Iran pull out of the World Cup, Iraq could be pushed to their position because they're the next best team. So they will not need the playoff. I'm sure Iraq will be praying for that to happen. Imagine Iran don't pull out. Iraq don't make it for the playoff, then Iran now later pull out tomorrow. Qatar, they've stopped all football games there. Saudi, I think they've stopped matches in Saudi. I don't know if it's the whole country or in some parts of the country. Mexico, the other nation that will host the World Cup, they'll mention murder is causing too much chaos, although it has reduced a bit now. The only peaceful place for now is Canada. Every other player, uproar here. Donald Trump, the president of USA, hitting out at Spain. Oh, yeah. I don't know why you don't want to bomb from your own country. Use another one. Too many conversations around it. Pedro, the World Cup 2026, to be or not to be?
To be. It is very, very rare to have a World Cup already fixed for a particular year and it will not hold, or probably it will be deferred. Not even when we had COVID, of course, fine. COVID did not actually happen during the World Cup year, so it was like in between 2018
it affected the Olympics
and 2022.
You had to move by.
It affected other sports, but not the
including
World
Euros,
Cup. Yeah, but not the World Cup. So I still think it will hold. The only time the World Cup did not hold, we'll have to go back to World War II.
Is this not looking like World War III?
No. Even though it's looking like having the makings of.
As we are talking, any sound I hear, I just look up.
So, but you have to go way back to that because World War II was between 1939 to 1945. So of course there was no World Cup in 1940. There was none in 1944. And also in 48, if I'm not mistaken, because the World Cup started in 1930. So the first three. We had 1930 in Uruguay, 34 and 38. Before
so the 42 and 46.
Yeah, 42 and 46, yes. Those were the ones that did not hold until 1950 in Brazil. The one that they called the Maracana disaster or something. The one in Uruguay.
Before they reduced the capacity.
Yes, the one Uruguay.
200, over 200,000 of driver.
I still struggle to imagine the numbers in that particular arena. And of course, Uruguay now defeated them to the final. So, but that is way over 80 plus years now. So, but to have the World Cup, each 4-year cycle being truncated or cancelled or called off, no. A lot has gone in and all that. So, I'm not even talking about the money. These countries, they can actually, recoup or recover these the cost or the outlay financially. So, but I think the World Cup will hold. It will hold. It's just unfortunate what is actually going on. But the thing is, sport is not separate from politics. Before being sportsmen, we are actually we live our lives under the political will of a particular administration or probably the laws of a country. As citizens, we
South Africa have won AFCON because of politics.
Exactly.
Because if Nigeria had gone to that AFCON, Nigeria for
we are not separate from politics. That is, all these things that they tell you, don't mix sports and politics, but just sport is politics.
As you enter trouble, you mix it.
Now, see, now there was an ATP tournament in tennis, sorry to divert a bit, that finished in Dubai just over the weekend on the day the bombing started. Players like Medvedev.
On one of my radio shows, one of the callers said, "Is in Dubai. They get alerts now, like 5 minutes before a bombing or something, just to make you
to rush to a shelter, or probably maybe a bunker or something.
And I asked myself, these things are not even coming out. Yeah, that's why I tell people, when there's war, unrest, or something in the place, most people that sit from distance, that you judge things, we don't know half of the things that happen. It's what I tell people, that because I got married in the north, I've been there, I still have family there. I tell people the things that happen there, we don't even know a quarter of it. So sometimes when the people involved are saying, we don't want, they know what they are saying, because I can mention it could have been worse for the tennis players. If they were maybe one day, imagine you say, let me wait one more day to explore. You are stuck in
fact, Medvedev was trapped in the country, as in he could. What saved player like Felix Auger-Aliassime? He left the night before. after he lost his semi-final. He left the night before. Now Medvedev that featured in the final. Now what actually even helped Medvedev and because he was to play Talon Griekspoor in the final. Griekspoor now had an hamstring injury that he suffered in the semi-final. In fact, he struggled to finish that semi-final before he qualified for the final. Now, thankfully, the organizers how would they have done it? To call fans to come to the stadium where there is bombing and how? Now the players were now trapped. It was more of a task to get them out of the country. They were even scheduled to even feature in some of the tournaments this week. Now there's Indian Wells ongoing in the USA and several other tournaments too. Some players now will have to pull out from that because of scheduling issues. Fine, it is no fault of theirs, but you will not use theirs to hold tournament that has been fixed, sponsorship, fans, tickets, and all that. Now for the World Cup now, like I said, it's unfortunate what is ongoing now, but I still believe it will hold. The United States, they will put up a showing, to put up a spectacle. Trust me, when it comes to one of the best entertainment countries on planet Earth, you have to give it to the Americans. They would. Trump himself came out in the week. It was ascribed to him that he said he did not care if Iran decide to come to the World Cup or not. He doesn't even care. And of course, trust me, he always says it's brute, in a brute manner. So I think it will hold. I don't think FIFA will do much. What FIFA would mostly seek is to probably get security guarantees from the American government. Okay, would fans be protected? Will players be protected? But now that we are having a larger format than before, 48 countries. So I think the US government may reduce the number of visas or for fans coming, but all the players and officials, those who need to be in the US for the tournament, they will not have issues. So insofar they're able to make their way over to North America, they'll be good. So we just let us see. 3 months is quite a lot, and a lot of things can happen. So this is just about 7-8 days into the war. So let me not call it war, more like unrest.
Well, Pedro said he still want the World Cup to hold because planning too many things have gone down. But before we go, I say I have one more thing for Pedro. But before we hear Pedro's take, let's hear what Kingsley Akpan and Amazing Kingsley has for us.
All right. So I know why we really need to talk about this. I actually know why we need to talk about this because there's quite a lot flying around these days. In fact, from so-called professionals that you expect that they should know more. People who have played the game for maybe a decade or two, you hear them come out, and run analysis and you are shocked. Absolutely shocked because during their days, they did worse. So why would you now be the person to try to play the saint and be that a player who knows so much about playing good football? Asking if pattern of play really matters or if it's results. I'll tell you categorically that at the end of the day, nobody would either remember a team for how well they played more than remembering a team for how many trophies they won. Why people still talk about the Barcelona team, the golden generation of the Spanish team, was that in as much as they played scintillating football, they also won trophies. They won titles upon titles, and that's why people still remember that team. Now, if you say, oh, this team played so well and they didn't win anything, nobody remembers them. Up until tomorrow, people still talk about Arsene Wenger in his last decade in very, very diminishing light. Unlike his first decade, people even forget that this was the guy who went through the whole season invincible, not losing a single game, not losing any game at all. Like that has never happened before. People forget that. A lot of people, when they talk about Arsene Wenger today, they talk about his last 10 years where they were playing beautiful football, but they were being bullied. They were calling Arsenal a baby team and all of people. That's what a lot of people even amplify when you talk about Arsene Wenger today. People forget that this Arsene Wenger had a team that had the Sol Campbells, the Vieiras, the Gilberto Silvas, the Canos, the Henry, Bergkamp, Petit, Pires, Ljungberg, Reyes, Alade, and co. People forget that really happened. And that's to tell you how humans are. One thing that we criticize today because it doesn't favor us, tomorrow when it favors us, you see them supporting it. I'll just give you two instances. Gary Neville, maybe three. Gary Neville, one of those who had come out to say, oh, doesn't like the way Arsenal have been playing because I think that's what has brought up this conversation, blah, blah, blah. That same Gary Neville, it's all over the social space. When Arsenal lost to Brentford, I think 2-0, I think it was the start of the season, some seasons back, 2020, 2023, if I'm not mistaken. Because Arsenal lost to Brentford that have bullied Arsenal, and I think the second goal was a throw-in that Nogard put in the back of the Nogard plays for Arsenal today. Guy never came out after that match to say that Arsenal were tossed around, Arsenal were bullied, Arsenal were pushed around, and that's not how a top team should play. Today, Arsenal are now the ones bullying teams, and then they have issues. Paul Scholes came out to say, oh, don't give the EPL title to anybody. Don't give it to any team. Nobody deserves it, maybe because of Arsenal's style of play. And then I asked, a lot of people just say this because they want to jump on the bandwagon. Go and check percentage-wise. Arsenal are not top of the pile or top of the list, or they are not the team with the highest percentage of goals via set piece. If you compare all their goals entirely, Arsenal are not top. Arsenal have not scored more set piece goals compared to all the goals that they've scored. If you check compared to other teams. In fact, in this midweek, Man City scored via a corner. Manchester United's only goal at Newcastle was via a free kick. Which other team again? I just start picking out the top teams who scored via set piece, and there's no noise. Nobody's making noise. Arsenal did not score via a set piece, and you can see that nobody's talking about it. So let them fact check all of this, and then you find out that the Gunners have scored more goals even without set piece. But people always want to talk about it and want to maybe diminish what this team is really, really doing. Paul Scholes, that's making all this noise. In 1999, when Manchester United played against Bayern in the Champions League final, Manchester United were absolutely shambolic. They were toothless all through that game. Bayern not to have even been out of sight. Effenberg, Elba, all of them ought to have been out of sight. But see how football is. So Alex Ferguson makes two substitutions. I think he brought in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and then Teddy Sheringham. One corner, Solskjaer equalizer was Sheringham, and then the second corner in the last seconds of the game. And Man United got those two goals via corner kicks. That was the same year that United became the first English side to win the treble, win the Champions League, win the league, win the FA Cup. The Champions League, that was the icing on the cake. They won it via corner kicks. Paul Scholes was a part of that team. That same Paul Scholes is out today, saying that I don't give any team. It's ridiculous. And then there's Mikel Obi somewhere also, saying all the things that say Mikel Obi that started as an attacking midfielder in 2005. I remember watching him against Lionel Messi, with that Samson Siasia team, with the Chinedu Obasio Bukes, the Sunny Keita, Zapa Munyekachi, and co. Mikel was always front-footed. We all know what Mikel did at Chelsea when he got to Chelsea. He scored only one EPL, just one. I mean one for all the games that he played. Mikel was a player that make no spoil for my hand was what he was always doing. He collects the ball, he returns it back. Anytime Mikel doesn't start, and then you see maybe Jose Mourinho or any manager bringing him on, they want to come and lock up shop. Where did Park the ball start from? Was the same Chelsea team? So what is all this that I'm hearing? I just feel that it's a certain level of gaslighting. Maybe it's the powers that be just coming to terms that just maybe Arsenal might win the league because people expected them to bottle it again. And now that they are not bottling it, they are looking for another kind of agenda. Arsenal drew 2-2 against Wolves, and everywhere caught fire. Everywhere. People said, oh, Butlers, you bottle it again and all of that. Liverpool lost 2-1 to that same Wolves team, and then I hear people saying, oh, the EPL is so exciting. The EPL is so exciting, it's so interesting. Wow. And then there's Fabian Hustler somewhere saying he will not play like Arteta played. A team just beat you at home. They are saying you can't play like that. You are in just one competition. You are fighting for maybe not going on relegation. This is an Arsenal team that are in the EFL Cup final. They are in the FA Cup. They played the FA Cup this weekend. They topped the Champions League group stage, winning all games, and they are top of the EPL. And you are here wanting to tell that manager, Mikel Arteta, how to play. Let's get serious for once. Look at managers that have won things back to back. This Pep Guardiola came to England and was playing his free-flowing, fantastic, scintillating, attacking football. He couldn't win the Champions League. I remember very well on 2 occasions, it was Real Madrid that knocked him out. Until Pep, now the season that Pep now knew that if I score one, I want to also lock up shop. Took John Stones, a defender, pushed him into the midfield, played a back three. John Stones and Rodri will now play as a double pivot in that defensive midfield so that he can cover all his tracks. He did that and he went on to win the Champions League. Today, nobody is saying, oh, Pep switched his pattern from free-flowing football, I just want to score more than you, to at least saving what he has to win the Champions League. No, they are saying Pep has won the Champions League with Manchester City. Chelsea fans today brag a lot about winning the UEFA Champions League on two different occasions. The first one that Roberto Di Matteo won for Chelsea, that they beat Bayern. Chelsea were poor from the beginning of that match to the end. It took a corner kick when Bayern are taking the lead from that Didier Drogba, nodded in, and then Robben missed the penalty in extra time, and Chelsea went on to win via penalties. That's the pride of Chelsea fans today. How about the second Champions League title that they won? That Kayava scored the only goal against City. City were the best team in Europe that season. Chelsea still won the Champions League by playing, some certain level of football that you cannot say was entirely attacking or enterprising or exciting. So let's cut all of this thing. It irks me a lot. Like, it gets me. I'm like, what are we doing? If Arsenal have found a way to play, what other teams should do is to find a way to nullify their threats and pick them out. So it's the result that matters, not the pattern of play, believe me.
Well, you've heard it from him then. In case you don't get what he's talking about, does how you play matter? There are different styles of football. There's a counter-attacking football. There's low block, similar to packing the boss. There's tiki-taka. There's game pressing. Different ways of playing football. But the question is, does how you play matter? Or at the end of the day, is the result, Pedro?
I think the way you play matters. Fine, modern football has taught us that the result is what you take home. I remember years ago when a team coached by Jose Mourinho, he won the game and all that. So he was asked, the other team had more possession than you. How do you feel and all that? His response was this: they can keep the ball as a possession. Me, I take the 3 points home. So that was a bit of savagery for me.
I remember when was that Ancelotti that said it, that what Xavi and Iniesta would do in 10 passes, or I think it was Zidane. Toni Kroos would do it with 1 pass. At the end, the ball gets to the striker and you score. So does all the passing, because at the end, the Italians will tell you defending is an art.
Yeah.
So if you think offensive football is your own, they tell you defending is our own. So is how you build up,
Yes, how you
the
build your
beautiful
team.
play, everything. Is it as important or just get me the 3 points of the trophies? Straight.
Exactly. I know this. The way you play matters. So people they are fans of, in quotes, sexy football, attacking football, pure football, total football, and they want to copy the late Johan Cruyff and the Ajax side of the 70s, and all that. So, but there's one of the best teams in the world that not to have won the World Cup. People still refer to that team till tomorrow, the Brazilian Seleção team of 1982 that did not win the World Cup. They had the likes of Zico, I think Socrates and the likes. They got to the semi-finals of that Mundial, but they did not win the World Cup. So for all the attacking, the flair, the Jogo Bonito that they exhibited in that tournament, everybody remembers Italy, who won the World Cup with a certain Rossi. Yes, he scored 6 goals in that tournament and all that. That's who they remember.
That's what I tell people, Pedro. If I tell you to start doing, I know you will remember things, but if I start telling you now, randomly calling the finalists of each tournament, you will likely not remember those who win second. Except I use, even if you remember, you think, okay, who won? Oh, okay, Brazil beat Nigeria. Okay. Same thing with Champions League.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I ask you now the winners of Champions League from 93, you mention everyone.
Of course.
But if I ask you who are the runners-up, You have to think.
You have to think who those
who
winners.
beat who. So me, I always say I'm a big fan of Pep Guardiola's tiki. Even Pep Guardiola know the tiki taka anything again. I love this tiki taka back then plays, but the only way to play football is to win, because even defending
Yes.
is also a style. If you know how difficult it is to defend, enter into the field of play, you would understand it. But it's been an exciting show today on Premium Sport on PBO TV. Always ever present Pedro Peter with me, and of course, thank you to Amazing Kingsley for putting his input on today's show. We have to go, but before we go, this is what Pedro Peter has for us on his Premium Bankers. Yes, that it is. I hope at the end of the weekend, tickets will turn green. But the biggest advice is everything you decide to put, please make sure you punt with what you can afford to part with. It's been an exciting show today, and my name is still Boluwati Tonishola Omoni. I hope to see you again next time. Do have a beautiful sporty weekend. Goodbye.
Premium Box Office TV. Everyone loves premium. Premium Box Office TV is exclusive on StarTimes.